All right, welcome to this quick demo, basically serving an introduction to Get Signals. And what I want to show you today is some very quick moves and playbooks that you can use really starting today to turn social data into actionable pipeline. So to do that, I want to cover two very popular use cases. The first is leveraging audiences for thought leaders. So in our case, we're going to use Adam Robinson today, and we're basically going to use Get Signals as the implementation use case. So we're interested in finding people that are following someone like Adam, who's speaking about go-to-market strategy, speaks very much to bootstrapped founders, anyone who is potentially struggling with pipeline these days, and commonly in the SaaS space. So this is a very solid audience for us to dig into to really pry back our ideal customer persona. And then the second is to go after something more topical, and that's to look for conversations and posts around the topic of cold email, because one of the problems that we try to solve for specifically is turning high volume, low effort, cold outbound tactics into more meaningful, target measured campaigns that are powered by social data. So to basically warm up your cold outbound. So let's get into the first example. So there are, for every industry, you're going to find influencers and thought leaders that are posting on the topic. And ideally what you're looking for is anyone that is serving as a bit of a magnet, so to speak, for your target audience. That could be bringing them in because they're discussing a pain points that people within your industry or your target audience are aware of, that you want to introduce your product, your solution to. And then on the flip side, then there's the topical approach, which is, specific subject matter that would interest your audience, that, they're drawn to that same idea. You want to go in and you want to pick up that audience to introduce your product, your solution to. So the first one I'm going to do, is this thought leader approach. And this is an existing signal that I had already actually created. And I'm just going to hop into edit mode. So when you create a signal, the first thing you're going to decide is, what exactly is the trigger that you're looking for. So in this case, it's new posts. So I know the particular profiles, or in some cases, the company pages that I want to listen for. And I'm listening for any time they, put out a new post, right? So, I've defined my targets. This I actually used our thought leader finder for. And what I had done was, I had basically instructed it to find me more profiles similar to Adam Robinson, and this is what it ended up coming back with. So once you put in the social profiles that you want to listen for, the next step is to configure the signal. So some of the basics, your signal can run daily, weekly, or monthly. The frequency, it really depends on what you're, going after. For thought leaders, I like to go with a daily scan. But if you're looking for, for example, job changes, within maybe your existing client base, you want to be, informed when someone switches roles either within a company or completely leaves the company. That's something that you might be able to even, get away with, definitely weekly, but maybe even monthly, depending on, the sensitivity of it. But, a lot of our users like it for, contract renewals and, understanding where, there are any changes in any of their stakeholders, or certainly any of their power users or champions within inside of a company that they already have business, for contract renewals, but then also for, expanding business. So whole other use case, but, just to give you an idea, there's a lot of flexibility there. So by default, we're going to export any posts that we find. If you are a Clay fanatic or you like, pushing your data out to, other third-party apps, no code tools for workflows and automations like N8N or Make, or Zapier, you can push posts, to webhooks very easily. As we kind of go down the chain here, we have a look back period. So anytime you start a new signal, you can basically do one of two things. Well, one of many things, but the two concepts are, you can just look for new posts from this moment forward from any of your targets, thought leaders in this case, or you can do a look back. So you can go back, as much as 2 weeks and up to 30 posts per profile or page that you're tracking. So if you're looking to kind of play catch up and go back in time and get an audience from a particular thought leader or from all of them or a particular page, this is very useful, and this is going to kind of front load a lot of data all at one time. So I mean, if you just want to do new going forward, I'd recommend just doing the 2 days. And then that's the look back period only applies for the first time the signal runs. From that point moving forward, every time the signal runs, it's only going to be looking back in time as far back as the last signal run, so you don't end up with any duplicates or things like that. Filtering posts. So if you want to, establish a more rigid framework around the type of post content that you want to see, just to, validate that specific keywords are present or a specific keyword plus another keyword, so one required and at least one extra, or just to completely scrap any posts that contain specific keywords. You can do all of that with the filtering options. Now, when you get into engagement, you can configure what type of engagement data you want to get back out from the post. So the two types are reactions, so likes, and then also comments. For reactions, you select how many reactions you want to pull at a single signal run. So in this case, this means we'll get 50 new reactions, if they exist, of course, every day that the signal runs. And I recommend keeping this, kind of low, especially if you're going to be pushing these into, other tools or other platforms, whether that's for outbound or whether that's, for qualifying on AI agents within our platform, or, if you're pushing data into Clay or something like that, because you're not going to miss anything. The approach for reactions and for comments is to be continuous. So every single day, existing posts will still be monitored for new engagement or any engagement that we haven't extracted yet. This just sets a ceiling on how much you'll do in a given day. And it's also good for, just being more efficient with your credits as well. But this creates a nice continuous flow. If you're looking for a more evergreen style campaign where you're pushing data, consistently, this is a nice way of doing it because it adds a bit of a throttle for you. The next option here, so you can, much like posts, you can push reactions to webhooks as well if you'd like to. And the same goes for comments as well. You can set a signal engagement threshold. So this is handy if you want to export every single reaction or profile that reacted as an enriched contact, which basically means is we go out and we pull in all of their profile data, all of their company related profile data to create a one enriched snapshot of your lead and their company. So when we do that, they end up going into your saved contacts area within the GetSignals platform. But at that point, too, you can push them out to other third-party integrations. So if you want to feed campaigns in Instantly or SmartLead or Lead Forward or Lemlist or Woodpecker, this allows you to push in all that enriched data into those platforms to start sequencing. Now, if you want to add some criteria, which is to say, well, maybe you don't want someone that reacted, just one time to an Adam Robinson inside the signal. You can set a threshold so that you want to see, a profile, like different posts up to 3 times within the signal before you push them out to any of these, to either contacts or also to any of the integrations. So if you want some more engagement history before you push them, you can do that here as well. Comments works very much the same. Same basic principles with, being able to push comments out to, webhooks, save any of the profiles that commented as enriched contacts. And then with that too, you get to for all of these methods, you will keep all of the data as well. So in terms of knowing, that the contact you saved and enriched like these specific posts or commented, and then what they said, and all of that kind of gets built together into their engagement history. Which if you're pushing it out to a webhook or if you're pushing it out to any of the applications that are supported in our integrations, all that data stays in place. When you do enable the exports enrich contacts option, you'll then also have an option to use our internal email enrichment and mobile enrichment tool. This is waterfall style. We have 7 different providers that we go through. And we also run a real-time email verification as well through a third-party tool. Now, if an email comes back as either not found, you don't pay a credit for that. If it comes back as risky, which typically means it's, catch-all, we haven't been able to verify it, you don't pay a credit. You only pay a credit for what we can absolutely validate and verify is a working email address. Same thing goes for the mobile number as well. So with that, you can kind of cruise through here. In this account, I have a bunch of integrations enabled, which is why you see all these, but you can kind of see the options that you have. If you wanted to go multi-channel, you could, push your saved contacts into HeyReach. You could push them into Smart Lead. You could opt to send them to an AI agent to process them to see, one, did we come up with a verified email for them? Or two, are they our ICP? And then based on those answers, you could say, well, we don't have a verified email for them, so let's push them into the social campaign. But if you do have a verified email for them, maybe then you're just pushing them to an Instantly or Smart Lead. So again, tons of flexibility, and all of it is point and click. This is not a complicated workflow system that you have to learn. But you'll find a lot of the AI agents tutorials within the application. So hopefully this was enough to sort of whet your beak and give you an idea of what the capabilities are. Enough so to set up your free account now and jump in and give it all a real try. So once you have everything configured, you just finish and save. And then your signal is off to the races. It will run automatically based on the schedule that you set up. It runs on autopilot. As I said, it's continuous. So any posts that we found yesterday or last week, we're going to continue bringing in new engagement data if your signal is configured for that. And that's pretty much the nuts and bolts in terms of the automation part of it. So it really is set it and forget it. One thing before we conclude that I just would like to show you. So that was taking the approach of thought leaders, where we have profiles, where we have pages that we want to extract audiences for. The other side of this and the other approach that you can take is to go topical, and that's to look for and to surface conversations that mention specific keywords or phrases. So in this case, this example, I'm looking for any mention of cold email, as I said at the onset of the demo. So what I've configured here is every single day that this signal is going out, and it's looking for up to 200 new posts that we haven't collected yet. You can also filter this down by the author title. So if you're looking for anyone that specifically is maybe a founder or co-founder or something like this, that's posting on whatever subject matter is relevant to your ICP, you can do that here as well. So every single day it's going to go out, it's going to look for any new posts that mention cold email. Keep in mind this can be contextual, which means the keyword might not appear directly. About 90% of the time it does, but there is a 10% of the time when you end up with posts that they think are relevant to the phrase or the keyword. So that's just something to keep in mind. But this is very powerful because, for us, as an example with cold email, that's one of the big pain points that we're trying to solve for with social data versus bulk high volume data. So anyone that's talking about this subject matter, the author, sometimes maybe the party that we want to engage. And then other times it'll be the folks that are commenting, or engaging. So, another great, avenue to take, is, the topics, and they really do surface a lot of times intent that will deliver a much warmer lead than you're certainly going to get out of a static B2B list. So I'm now 13 minutes and 52 seconds into my 2-minute demo video. I hope this gave you enough context to see what it is that we're trying to do here with Get Signals and how this can really help your pipeline, really starting today too. This is not something that has a steep learning curve. This is not something that has a lot of friction points in terms of setup. As you can see, you can get in and create a signal with no actual real setup to start getting data back. And I do recommend that you start slow. You don't need to, start moving in with integrations or configuring webhooks. You can keep everything centralized in the platform while you get used to, the types of data that you can bring in. At any point, you can see all over the application are export to, spreadsheet options. So you can pull your data out, just to get a sense for, what is possible before you start automating, because you really want to have a manual sense of things before you start automating it, because, once you start automating it, it can be a little bit difficult to arrest any issues that, you didn't think of, whether it's, qualifying or, whether it's just sheer volume. This will give you an idea of what you can do in a little bit more of a manageable pace. So again, hopefully this was enough for you to click on that sign up button. You can start completely free. You'll get 50 credits. That's more than enough to, start up a few different signals, and see what you get back and what works. If you have any issues as part of that journey, please reach out to us. Once you create an account, you'll be getting some notifications from me as well, so you'll be able to reach us. So thank you again, and good luck.